Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be sharing with you how I have been able to pay for my own tuition and fees while studying in the US. These are the 7 ways that I was lucky enough to meet some great people who helped me out figure these ways. So if you'd like to know that, just stay tuned. I'm sure if you're watching this video, it's either you're trying to figure out how you pay for the rest of your education while you study in the US, or you're planning to come study in the US someday but don't know how you're going to pay for it. Well, then you are in luck. In this video, I'll be sharing with you all the ways that you can use to pay for your own tuition and fees. Before we continue with this video, if you're new on here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, so you'll be the first to know when I post my next video. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first one I'd like to talk about is college choice. How cheap it is or how affordable it is. You know, over the years, I've realized most international students like to go to colleges that are in bigger cities or nice, have nice campuses and stuff like that. But unless you got scholarship, you don't have to worry about stuff like that. You're trying to pay for it. So your goal is to look at the cheapest colleges that you can find. Know that these colleges are more of a business, so they don't really care much about you. They only care about your money. And also, it's not about where you went to college. It's all about who you know and what you know. So you should keep that in mind. I made a video about the cheapest colleges in the US, and also the cheapest community colleges in the US. If you haven't seen this, I'll encourage you at the end of this video, click on the link and go watch it. It will definitely help you figure it out, because this is the key to everything I'll be sharing with you in this video. If you are struggling as an international student right now in the college that you can afford, just transfer to a cheaper college. It will help you so much. I've had many of you reach out to me. If you take my advice, it will definitely help you out. The next one I'd like to talk about is on-campus jobs or on-campus employment. As an international student, you are allowed to work up to 20 hours a week on campus. During school year, you are not allowed to work off campus at any way or form because it's illegal. During the summer, you are even allowed to work more, all the way up to 40 hours a week. So just imagine you're making $9 an hour and you're working 20 hours a week. So in 2 weeks, 40 hours, and you get paid twice every month. Or let's say you're working up to 40 hours a week. So in 2 weeks, it's almost 80 hours. So what does this mean? So let me see here. Let's say in the summer you work 40 hours a week. So by fall it's 160. So let's say 160 hours by 9, just 1,400. I mean, you get taxed on that, but summer is like 3 months. You'll be able to save enough to cover most of your tuition. That's why I make emphasis of going to a cheaper college, because if this year you wouldn't be stressing so much about paying for your education, because if you put in the work and you work weekly, you'll be able to pay for most of your stuff. Some of the on-campus jobs that you can find are working at the cafeteria, maintenance guy, like cleaning and stuff like that, like being a student tutor, working at the bookstore, working at the library. You can also be a student ambassador. There are so many other jobs depending on the school that you go. So take advantage of that. Next one I like to talk about is scholarships. This is basically saying free money. Know that nobody's gonna give you free money unless you are giving them something back or unless you're worth it. So some schools use scholarships to trap some of you guys to come to the school. They may offer you $10,000 to come to the school, but in return you have to pay like about $14,000. So that's not a good deal. So keep that in mind, not to get tricked into that. There are so many ways that you can get scholarships. You can play sport to get money. Let's say you play soccer, you play basketball, you know how to swim. If you're really good at it, some schools will give you scholarship to compete for their school. There are other ways you can get scholarship. Do music, like on-campus involvement, even academics. You can choose to write an SAT. If you get good grades, some schools will give you scholarship for that. Note that most schools wouldn't give you scholarship unless you enroll to the school. Once you get to that school, they are more than willing to give you all the scholarships you need so far as you qualify for it. Just imagine you apply to a cheaper school, you get a job on campus, and you got some scholarships to go to school. Just imagine how that's going to help you, meaning you probably be going to school almost free, as I'm talking right now. This is why I told you to make emphasis on every single thing I'm talking about. The next one I would like to talk about is living off campus. Living off campus literally means you find a house or apartment off campus and you live there during the school year or during your stay in the US as a student, and with like a few people that you share to pay monthly. Schools require you to live on campus when you apply to the school. So always try to make sure you find out if you can live off campus during your first year or the rest of your college, because that will save you a lot of money. If you are told you have to live on campus, then you have to pay for meals and you have to pay for accommodation. And most of the time, meals and accommodation are way expensive than the tuition and fees itself. Some schools you pay like around $5,000 or $6,000 a year for tuition, and their meals and accommodation itself will cost you almost $10,000. So always keep in mind when applying for this school. Just imagine you apply to a cheaper school or college, you got an on-campus job, you got a scholarship, now you're living off campus. Just look at how much money you'll be able to save. The fifth one I'd like to talk about is being a residence assistant. Normally they call that RA. So basically what you're doing is you are a trained peer leader who lives in the residence hall and coordinates activities, for the students. Somebody who's in charge of some aspect or some side of the residence hall. They give you a floor that you be in charge of a bunch of students over there. You organize games, activities, and also some days you be required to sit in this bubble thing, where you have to work and help students out. I mean, it can be a little bit stressful sometimes because sometimes you just have to stay up to do some round check, or just organize some stuff, do some training and other stuff, but it's pretty easy job. But some days, may require you to do some extra stuff. And in return, you get free accommodation and free meals. It's as easy as that. Anybody can apply for it. Some schools will require you to live on campus for like a year or two. Some don't really care. Anybody can apply for this, so you can really take advantage of that. The next one I'd like to talk about is CPT, known as the curricular practical training. This is also known as the internship. So as an international student, you are allowed to intern while studying on or off campus, only in their field of study. Sometimes you are allowed to intern for a company off campus during the school year, but you have to do that part-time, up to 20 hours a week. People like to intern during the summertime to work full-time. I've got to say, this is a great way to make money, whilst going to school. To qualify for this though, you have to study at that college for 1 year, and after you be eligible to apply for internship. And how does this work? So let's say you found an internship opportunity in your field of study. You go tell your international student advisor about this opportunity. They'll tell you, okay, hey, have you talked to the company that you want to work for them? If you say yes and they agree, then they'll tell you to register this as a class so they can relate and show the immigration services that this is a legit internship. And then once that is approved, they'll put that in the system, and then you can go ahead and intern. Know that this internship have term limit. Most of the time, once the semester is over or once summer is over, it is over, and then you have to go back to your regular on-campus job. Seventh and the last one I'll be talking about will be OPT, also known as the optional practical training. So this is kind of like the postgraduate work permit in Canada, but this is the US way. You qualify for this after each level of degree that you attain in the US. What I mean is, you got an associate degree, you're allowed to get an OPT after your bachelor's degree, after your master's degree, and after your PhD. You only get it one time for each level you graduate. There are two different kinds of OPT. One is under STEM and the other one is a non-STEM. So for the non-STEM, is basically saying you're taking business, you are taking music, you are taking a teaching, course that doesn't qualify you as a STEM major. Somebody may ask, what is STEM? So those are majors that fall under science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So for STEM majors, you can work for up to 3 years. These are ways that I've been able to use to pay for my own tuition and fees while studying in the US. Not everybody will share this with you, but I just thought, why not? Because I'm sure most of you guys are looking for this opportunity to be able to study in the US or to be able to make your life easier while studying in the US. So I encourage you to take advantage of this. I want to say thank you to every single one of you who stayed all the way to the end of the video. It really means a lot to me.